Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It is Wednesday. um, I can't even think of the date. I'm sorry. Anyway, it's Wednesday morning. It's about 1:33 a.m. and yes, I'm out on the road. California drivers, you're not going to be happy with this one, and it really sucks. The rideshare professor Torsten did a really good piece on this yesterday in a live stream, and I did a little research on it, so here you go. Uber is taking away the multiplier from drivers in California and not allowing them to see where the pickup is or where it's going. And even after all the bullshit with Prop 22 and AB 5, now that they've got Prop 22 under their belts, they can do whatever they want. So I found an article and I'm going to read it. So, hi Chrissy Mama. Chrissy Mama is in the house. Aloha. Thanks for joining the stream. I'm doing a, oh man, I just... I'll tell you, man, California Uber sucks right now. So, anyway, here's the article, and it's from the San Francisco Chronicle, and it says, Uber may stop letting drivers see destinations and name prices. Dark Road Run. Wow, I haven't seen you in one of my chats in a while. Thanks, Joe, for jumping in. Infinity Heart Love. Hi, how you doing? You guys... Dark Road Run is in the house. If you are not subscribed to his channel, check him out. This guy is a phenom when it comes to some of the wildest videos and animations and computer graphics. He's the best out there. So anyway, let's get back to this article. And Joe, this is, I'm sure you're probably already well aware of this, but let's get back to it. So again, this is from the San Francisco Chronicle, and it says, Uber may stop letting drivers see destinations and name prices. Well, I thought that's what what Prop 22 is for. And, oh, and by the way, Joe, Lisa, Rideshare Lisa will be down here in Southern California. She's staying with my wife and I from tomorrow night, Thursday night, all the way through till next Wednesday. So you should take a little weekend trip maybe down to Southern California. I got an extra room. I'll even help you pay for a little bit of gas. She is dying to meet you, Joe. And you know, I got two extra rooms in the house. So Chelsea Mama, how are you? I'm sorry, Chrissy Mama. It's kind of hard to read. I got lights and but thank you for joining the chat. But Joe, you need to get down to Southern California. And Roxanne, what is up? Roxanne is in the house. Okay, so let's get back to it. Uber is, again, let me get to it. And this is from the San Francisco Chronicle. And Harry the rideshare guy is actually in this. It's actually pretty good. So Uber may stop letting drivers see destinations and name prices. I'll tell you what, if that happens, I'm not driving anymore. And not to toot my own horn, I'm not driving for 80 cents a mile in a $40,000 car. It just ain't gonna happen. So, a year ago, Uber let its California drivers see ride destinations before picking up passengers and let them set pricing in an effort to prove that drivers were truly independent contractors. It was part of the company's strategy to block drivers from being reclassified as employees under AB 5, California's gig work law. Now, Uber is acknowledging that the move has hurt business and is considering axing its visible destinations and price naming policies. The Chronicle has learned. The seesaw may disappoint drivers who appreciated the extra control over their work. No, that's going to piss people off. So, if you know your market, Oh, thanks, Chrissy Mama. I know I threw together a little bunch of clippets of I think it was the one you're talking about. The video where I put all the different thoughts of a rideshare driver, where you kick someone in the ass. He goes, "That's an attention getter." So, all right. Whoops. Sorry. Emergency lights. So now Uber is acknowledging that the move has hurt business and considering axing its visible destinations and price naming policies, the Chronicle has learned. The seesaw may disappoint drivers who appreciate the extra control over their work. And like I said, no, it's going to piss drivers off, because the simple fact that we're allowed to set our rates is part of why a lot of drivers are still doing it. Let me continue though, because there's a little more to this. All right, so they continue. Too many drivers cherry pick lucrative rides and decline other requests, making the service unreliable. So I'm going to stop right there. And as we all know, and we've all seen, including myself, Uber is always looking out for the passenger, and they don't give a shit about the drivers. Even though they know that the drivers are a core part of their business. Okay? Sorry, I'm in my car, so let's continue. Too many drivers cherry pick lucrative rides and decline other requests, making the service unreliable, the San Francisco company said on Monday. Uber no longer has to worry about proving that drivers are independent contractors because Prop 22, the November ballot measure that Uber and fellow gig companies spent $220 million on to pass, enshrines their non-employee status. So basically what that's saying is they paid all this money, they held up all these little trinkets over our head, and come and get it, come and get it. You know, we're going to work with you guys, we're going to do this stuff. You know, vote yes on Prop 22. You guys will keep your independence and your flexibility, and you know nothing's going to change. And here we are 4 months into it, and now they're taking away our ability to set our own prices. That's pretty fucked up, first of all. And unfortunately, well, you know what? Let me continue to read, and then we'll get into the chat. So you guys hang tight. Uber is reevaluating past changes we made in California so we can make Uber more reliable, the company told the Chronicle. In January 2020, days after AB5 took effect, Uber made the changes, saying they were due to new state laws and warning riders that they might have a harder time finding a ride. AB5 makes it harder for companies to claim that workers are not employees. It relies on a test that says workers are employees unless they work free from a company's control, do work not central to a company's core business, and have their own independent enterprises in that line of work. Well, Uber's core business is rideshare. Okay. Continuing, Uber's goal was to show that drivers had more freedom and flexibility and thus fit those requirements. Drivers could set their own price as a multiple of an Uber base price, could see where riders are going, and could reject ride requests without penalties. Riders no longer saw pricing before a ride. Oh. Poor passengers don't know what they're going to pay for. It's because they're fucking spoiled. All right. So, continuing. Jose Lang, thank you for joining. Okay, so Uber argued in court last summer that drivers' ability to see destinations and set prices meant that they were truly independent. Okay, right there. Contradiction from Dara Karasharsky, whatever. It sounds like a fucking sneeze. That dude needs to change his name or something. Infinity Heart Love, welcome to the channel. I know it's really early here in California, but thank you for joining. So let me read that again. Uber argued in court last summer that drivers' ability to see destinations and set prices meant that they were truly independent. Truly independent. Now they're taking it away. So, how are we truly independent if they argued for this in court and now that they've got Prop 22 are going, well, no, now we can take it away from you. Let's continue. California and 3 city attorneys are suing Uber and rival Lyft over driver classification under AB5 in a case that continues, but now we'll look at conduct only before Prop 22 took effect. So now they have to stop when Prop 22 was officially passed. So they can't go any further than what happened prior to Prop 22, but they still got so we're talking 4 months versus what, 12 years? Yeah. Okay, so continuing. But on the streets, the move backfired. 1/3 of California drivers declined more than 80% of their ride requests, making the service unreliable, Uber said this week. Let's try it. Let me say that again. 1/3 of California drivers declined more than 80% of their ride requests, making the service unreliable. So let's add the other 2/3 of those who are taking the requests, who are using the multiplier properly, aren't trying to rip anybody off and manipulate the algorithms, and let's add them all together. So out of 100% of drivers, 27% of the drivers, not 80. That's a fucked up way to put it, and it's a lie, because they're making it sound like 80% of all of the Uber drivers are declining these rides, and that's not what's happening. 80% of 1/3 of the drivers are declining 80% of the rides. So again, if you add it all up, it basically breaks down to about 27% of every Uber driver in California is declining 80% of the rides. Let's continue. About 1/5 of potential passengers in California now end up not finding a ride, a 7-fold increase from the previous. The pandemic further constrained the number of drivers who now must grapple with the risk of contracting the virus. So, a 7-fold increase, but then they throw in the pandemic. So, again, another lie, because obviously the pandemic took a lot of drivers off the road, and it also, if I'm not mistaken, Uber and Lyft both put out notifications on their apps that said drivers could refuse non-essential rides during the height of the pandemic. So what drivers did was just that. If you were going from your house to go hang out with your girlfriend during the height of the pandemic, and in LA, especially in LA County, we got hit hard. We could tell, I'm sorry, I can't take that. That is a non-essential ride. And I did a video a while back that said Uber drivers could face jail time and $1,500 in fines about a year ago. And I got ripped apart for that because, it's clickbait and it was bullshit and all this other stuff. Go back and watch that video. Uber drivers face, I think it was $1,500 fines and 6 months in jail. Mr. G, what's up, Ari? And watch it, because the odd thing about that is I did that a year ago, and at the height of the pandemic, that video was spot on. So anyway, let me continue. I agree, Roxanne, it's messed up. The changes disproportionately hurt airports. Okay, so now they're saying that it's not drivers in general, it's drivers at the airports. So, let's continue. The changes disproportionately hurt airports, Uber said. Airport rides have long been a profitable backbone of the service, and that's where the company hopes to see increased demand as more Americans start to travel as they become vaccinated. Weekly ride completion rate for San Francisco and LAX is less than 60%. By far the lowest for major airports in the country, Uber said. Well, no shit. Maybe because people aren't flying yet. It's just reopening. I love how they take the words and just twist them up to make it sound like they're just drivers are really screwing up all this stuff, and it's that's not true, you know. Again, weekly ride completion rate for San Francisco and LAX, or Los Angeles International Airport, is less than 60%, by far the lowest for major airports in the country, Uber said. Well, and again, people are just starting to fly, so that doesn't fly. Harry Campbell, an Los Angeles Uber and Lyft driver who runs the Rideshare Guy blog and podcast, said that drivers who work full-time liked having the additional controls so they could reap the maximum profit. I absolutely agree, Harry. That is an awesome, awesome statement, and you are 100% spot on. So, let's continue. To make it work as a full-time driver, you have to be very strategic. And I've done videos on that. I did a video on how to use the multiplier, how to maximize your income, but you have to know your market. You have to know the area that you work in, the hot spots, downtimes, so on and so forth. So to make it work as a full-time driver, you have to be very strategic. Many drivers previously were shocked to find out that they didn't know where a passenger was going until they accepted the ride. When Uber added the destination feature, it was a game changer for a lot of drivers. So let me go back just a little bit, and like I said, let's take 5x. So let's say $5 a mile. If I get a ride request that says that my potential earnings on the app is $50, I know that's a 10-mile trip. I don't care where they're going. I don't need to know the destination. I know that I've got a ride request that's potentially, $45 to $55, so we'll say 50, which means that the trip is 10 miles and it's 5 miles away from me. You want to take away the destination, I could give a flying rat's ass about that, because I can figure out how far they're going just based on what my potential income is when it shows up on the app. However, driving to go pick up that ride in the blind is something that nobody should do. Nobody. And if you don't understand what I mean by driving there in the blind, it's a term we use when I would go on rescue calls. We would get a call over the radio, and they'd say, for instance, 33 Adam, we have a vehicle collision at 30th Street West and Avenue K in the blind. That's what the dispatcher would say. And we would respond with, we're en route, code 3. In the blind, meaning somebody dialed 911 and said, hey, there's an accident at 30th Street West and Avenue K, and didn't give any more information. So we had no idea how many cars were involved. We didn't know if there were pedestrians involved. We didn't know if there was, we didn't know anything. We just knew that there was something at 30th Street West and Avenue K, and we had to respond to that in the blind, not knowing anything, and then assess that situation and call for additional resources as needed. So, I'm not going to drive 20 miles to pick up a $50 trip that's going to take me another 10 miles further. So that's 30 miles away to come back 30 miles. So that's 60 miles round trip. That's what, in this car, it's 2.5 gallons. It's 3 gallons of gas. So that's $12. So now I'm down to $38 plus wear and tear, so $35. It's not bad, but nobody should ever not know where they're going.